I mean, that's what I expect, to do when I go out there. It just doesn't always happen like you want it. But I had good fastball command tonight, and didn't. I don't feel like I tried to throw maybe 3 balls hard all day. Just tried to locate and sink the ball and cut it and curve it and change it a couple of times, and we'll see what happens. But our defense was amazing. Defense was great. A lot of those guys got grass stains on them right now, and got some timely hits. So it was cool.
You've spoken throughout your career and to us specifically this year that you want the pitches that you have at the end of the night to be less than the amount of innings that you've recorded through a complete game shutout on 88 pitches. What goes into that, and how are you so effective?
I didn't look at my pitch count all day because I knew it was low, but I didn't want to get it in my mind, anything. I thought for the first time I had a chance at a Maddux, at a CG with less than 100, but I've taken a couple into the ninth inning with like 90 or 88, and then I just go over it just barely, and I'm like, So I knew I was pretty low, but I did not want to think about it. All I wanted to do was think about executing pitches and keep it simple. It's not change anything from a mindset standpoint from inning to inning.
What's the impact and the emotional level of your start tonight?
Well, I think it starts with what Jay did yesterday. He got the ball rolling for us here, and I just tried to continue it. I'm gonna pass it on to Wade and see what he can do tomorrow.
Good one's all for me. You gonna buy Harrison dinner or something after those plays in the later innings?
Absolutely, I'll buy them dinner whenever they want.
And then, do you have any extra incentive? I know that you've been stressing to us how much you've been working on your offense. 2 hits tonight. Did you have any incentive when they walked Tommy in front of you?
Yeah, that always, that especially, I've got some good memories of them doing that here in this ballpark, but that always kind of gets under my skin a little bit. And I've been working hard. I've been working on my offense a lot. And first at bat, I went into grind mode right away, tried to see pitches and get into a good count. And the second at bat, I stood up and just trusted my eyes and took a deep breath and relaxed and just finally got a good pitch to hit and put a good swing on it.
Derek Gold, St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Adam, is it an anniversary or anybody's birthday or something? I'm trying to figure that out.
It's somebody's for sure. What day is it?
I don't even know anymore. August 11th?
Yeah, it's an early birthday present for my brother coming up on the 18th.
There you go. So a week early. Just got to go.
And plus I had a good couple of friends here, and we needed to get, 2 games over 500 for the first time in a while. So there was some things going.
What was your relationship like with Maddux? I mean, did you talk about Maddux's with Greg Maddux as a young pitcher?
I didn't talk about specifically that with him, but I studied him as a kid, and then when I got to be in big league camp with him, I left a couple of unbelievable opportunities to talk pitching even more than I did. I got to talk pitching with him a few times, but one of my biggest regrets in life is he told me he'd be in the weight room every morning at 6 a.m. sitting on the leg extension machine doing a crossword puzzle if I wanted to come talk pitching with him, and I thought that was too early in the morning. That's just one of my biggest regrets ever. I should have done that. What an idiot, and just dumb youth, But I certainly, had lots of clippings of what his mindset was and his mentality and what made him execute pitches and stuff on my wall when I was a kid.
I was trying to remember where the match the pitch count with the innings came from. Was that from him, or was that something you read about him, or was it from one of the other guys?
Just me, just something I came up with. Well, at least I think I did. Most things I think I came up with probably were learned somewhere else too, but that was just something that helped keep my mind in the right place as far as attacking hitters. If you got 70 pitches or 70-something pitches in the 7th, you're going to have a chance to go 9. If you got 40-something pitches in the 4th, you're going to have a chance to go 9. That's what I've always, since the second year I was starting, I tried to do that.
What did you learn early on there, even with the first 2 hitters, about what you had to work with today? I think, you get 2 called strikeouts, one on a pitch, up and in, and the other one down and away. And then with that kind of movement and that kind of control, those corners, What do you work with? Yeah,
and I knew I had command. I knew I had great command. And I between starts, that was my main focus was fastball command. I had gotten away from being able to control the first base side with my sinking fastball, or ride. We call it a ride back sometimes if it's up and into a lefty or away to a righty. And I had started losing that over the middle of the plate. So I probably, if I threw 40 pitches, I probably threw 30 of them, just trying to really feel that coming back over the corner there, over and over and over again. And finally, I felt like I got the right grip, and I felt like my wrist was the proper way throwing it. And each day throwing between starts, I really worked on getting my hand going through the zone the proper way. And it's just, it's funny what you work on, you get better at. So a couple of games ago, I really worked on my changeup between starts, and my changeup was really good. And looks like I'm gonna have to go back to the well on that one, because that was my only pitch that I didn't command well today.
Two quick questions. Has it frustrated you, this ballpark? I mean, you've had some games here. You know the numbers as well as anybody. But, you've had recent success here, but overall, this place has kind of vexed you a little bit.
Yeah, so my mindset going into today was, I think I've talked about this with you all the last couple of times, is I just have all these processes that I'm doing between starts. I'm kind of robotic now with the things I'm doing for recovery and for weightlifting and for eating and drinking even, and making sure I get the proper amount of hydration. Jason Shudt at home, one of our strength coaches, is always, or head of player performance or whatever he is, he's always talking to me about how many ounces I have, and I'm trying to get the proper amount of sleep and recover the right way. And I'm trying to do all these things very robotically so that I can be prepared for each start. And so in my mind, it doesn't matter anymore where I'm pitching. I'm just continuing the process. So that's keeping it simple for me. I'm going to keep doing that.
And since Hummel's not here, am I required to ask an age question? Is that a quota?
I mean, the Post-Dispatch likes age jokes, so go ahead.
That's because we are aged, right? That's
Yeah.
why. Yeah. Thanks, Adam.
Okay.
Zach Silver, MLB.com.
Yeah, Adam, I know we've talked a lot about how you've changed diet, how you've changed preparation. I guess what has been, when you look back on kind of those past few years, 2018, 2017, when things weren't going your way, what has been the biggest thing that you feel like you've changed that's allowed you to unlock this level of consistency and this level of health that has kind of kept you going this year?
Yeah, 17 and 18 were odd years. I mean, not only was I hurt, but I was trying to still do a lot of things like I did when I was younger, and I didn't need to do those things anymore, as far as working out and running and the way I was eating and the way I was doing everything it just needed a change. It needed to evolve like the rest of my game was. And so, getting with the dietitian or the diet plan that allowed me to feel better and to be able to, recover, not eating some foods that I used to crush, on the regular, not, staying away from those. But, big things are how we're lifting, how we're training now, how I'm sleeping and how I'm hydrating now is just different. It's just a whole lot different than I used to do. That's a whole lot more important to me now, the stuff that I do, not necessarily in the weight room, because it was always important, but all the little things, the way I eat, the way I drink, and the way I'm trying to recover between starts is on another level than I never used to do. So, I mean, I just, who knows if I'd be even pitching if I didn't do half those things. So if you want to keep being good at your craft, you gotta bob and weave and evolve with your game as it goes.
I guess that kind of leads me to my next question. What are you proudest of from how you've been able to kind of recover from that? It could be person, it could be your approach, your mentality. I guess what about you are you proudest of how you've been able to kind of bounce back from that stretch and have these last 2-3 years?
I don't think I want to go there just yet, because the job is not done yet. I don't want to be proud of anything just yet. I want to finish what we start here, and then at the end of the year, maybe I'll look back, or the end of my career, I'll look back and be like, that was pretty neat. But I'm trying not to go there right now. I'm trying to stay in the moment and do all the little things we do to be prepared for the next 5 days.
Yeah, that's fair. Thanks a lot.
Jeff Jones.
Adam, I did bring age stuff with me, unfortunately, and I'm curious which of these is most interesting to you. MLB said tonight that you were the oldest pitcher to throw a shutout on 88 pitches or fewer since they started counting pitches in 1988. That was one. There was also a stat. You tonight the Maddux makes you older than Greg Maddux was when he threw his last shutout of any kind. But the third one, I thought that maybe you would be curious about. You were the first pitcher in documented Cardinals history to record a Maddux and a multi-hit game in the same game. So I guess the question is, do we call that a Wainwright? Is that what we name that from here on out?
Yeah, we probably should call that a Waino. Hey, you said it, not me. I just agreed with you. That would be neat. I mean, I think you have to do something a lot to have it named after you. You know, if you just do it once, I don't know if that's warrants that. But it sounds like a cool thing. I should try it again.
It is one more than Mike Maddux, for what it's worth. But I guess I know you told Zach you don't want to look at things in that context yet. How do you do that at the same time as sort of wrapping your arms around? I mean, like, maybe this does not to you feel like an enormous achievement, but it seems like in watching this game and sort of immediately trying to comprehend the historical context of it, it does seem like a bigger than average Wednesday start. Like, how do you I guess balance those two things?
I guess just by not thinking about it, if you don't get overly concerned with your age, then it's not a factor. I mean, that's the only really way I know how to answer that. I feel much younger than I did several years ago, and that's all that matters to me. My wife still thinks I'm cute. She's watching, so I got her tricked. So just keep tricking them.
Randy Carricker, ESPN Radio, St. Louis.
Adam, a couple of quick things. Number one, Derek talked about your pitching performance at PNC. You're now a .372 career hitter at PNC Ballpark with an .856 OPS. Is there something about that ballpark, the background, that gets you hitting there?
Well, you better tell Shildt that. I'll be ready to go tomorrow if he needs me. I'll have my spikes on. No, just it's one of those oddities. It's one of those weird stats that doesn't make any sense on paper, or just you feel comfortable some places and some places you don't. But I have gotten some hits here, and it's really a good place to pitch too. There's no excuse for me to pitch bad like I did for so many years here, and I'm trying to just leave that all behind me. But I'll try to keep the hitting thing going, because that sounds like a trend I need. Well, I pitched so bad here for years. I knew I had to give some hits to balance it out.
And then I wanted to ask you, because normally starting rotation is going to kick in before August 11th, but here we are August 11th and after the trades. I want to ask you how you feel about how this rotation has been the last couple of times through with the additions of Happ and Lester.
Well, I thought Jay pitched great last time out. He pitched a really solid game his first time out too. I think he's made some really good strides since he's been here. Love watching him pitch and compete. John pitched a great game, better than the numbers showed the other day. Big John, he's such a competitor. What a winning baseball player he is. And when you add guys like that to the clubhouse, cool things happen. We had a great big league dinner the other day, which is the thing that we missed the most about last year, where we get a lot of guys together, and Big John's telling stories, I'm telling stories, Andrew Miller's telling stories, and all the young kids are just soaking that up. And man, that's a good thing for a team. That's a thing that helps build winning processes going forward. So you got to have some veterans on your team to tell stories and keep young guys fresh. It's just when I can remember being on a very veteran heavy team when I was a young fella, and that was just like the best time ever. It was hearing all the stories and remembering where you were when that happened on TV, and listening to the different guys and their mindsets and what they're thinking when they're pitching or whatever they're doing. That is such a winning brand that just gosh, we missed that so bad. And so having some good veteran leadership in here, not that Yachty and I always try to do that anyways, but it doesn't hurt to have more, so that's a good thing.
Derek Gold, St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
That means I'm still trying to look up exactly what we saw tonight, so I'll just ask you that. 88 pitches, shutout, 2 hits, RBI. What do you make of what 39-year-old number 50 did?
He put on an absolute display on how to go about your business as a professional major league pitcher. Controlled counts, kept hitters off balance, art of pitching, and controlled the whole way. Threw to both sides of the plate, good sinker, a lot of ground balls, let his defense work. Clearly the defense was outstanding towards the end of the game as well. We'll get to that, I'm sure, but it's just fantastic. And the other thing is, he contributed with the bat too. To your point, Derek, he, big could have been a run-scoring double if it doesn't get in the bleachers, but takes a big, long, tough two-strike at bat, and then laces one through the middle for an RBI single, and just did a tremendous job. And like with his offense, this is why people are so great, and some people don't necessarily do that consistently, because it's not, the games can be won or lost before you actually play it. And Waino plays it really well in between the 5 or 6 days in between his starts. We talked about, the offense. He just wasn't pleased with him not being as productive offensively. So what did he do? He figured out the why, goes out, gets off the machine, sees spin, really challenged himself, gets early extra work, and then has had, a Big Ten pitch at bat against Cleveland, and, a big at bat, couple big at bats tonight to help himself, which was fantastic. Real pro, did a tremendous job.
And I want to ask about just like the mechanics of something. How do you track pitches? Who does that for you? Is that Maddux on a clicker? Is it just watching the scoreboard? How do you keep up with just kind of mechanics of it?
I watch a scoreboard. Sometimes they're not in as good of places. Our place at home is ideal. This place is good. It's just in my line of sight and field of view, and so I do it that way. I do get with Mad Dog sometimes in between innings. If I didn't look, because I always get in the habit of long time being on pitch counts in minor leagues. I've always been pitch count conscious, and so I'm always aware of what that looks like. I used to rely more on pitching coaches, but sometimes I'll turn to Mad Dog for two things. One, we're in between innings and making a decision about, and I didn't look at the end of the inning about where the guy was. I might say, hey, what's he at? And of course, I've got my notes on what he's been the last couple of times and have a feeling for where they are, especially as the season goes. And the second time I'll ask him is, once the inning starts, I can figure out how many pitches have taken place for the game, but I might look over and say, hey, how many pitches this inning?
So as this is unfolding and you guys are talking, what you're thinking about how efficient it was? Cross your mind that it could be less than 90 pitches and be done here?
Yeah, I didn't go with the number necessarily, but I looked up and realized, because you're always, at least I do, I'm tracking pitches as we go, and then you kind of done this for, as long as I've done it, you kind of get a sense of where things are going. You have a quick inning, get back into it, you see where their tracking is, but you look up and the guy's at 30-something pitches in the third, and 31, I think, after 3. And then you start to pay attention to it, and there's another quick inning, and you go, all right, he's in the groove, he's in a good place, he's on track to get through, at least 7 or 8, and then when it gets a certain point, you're like, he could take this whole thing down.
Thank you.
Yep.
Katie Wu?
It's interesting to see that throughout Adam's career, he's done it on an old school pitching style that the modern game is trending away from. So for him to be able to come out and essentially breeze through this Pirates team using that old school pitching method of, varying the speeds and working on your off speeds, how does that, to you, what does that mean to see that old school pitching style still plays in the big leagues?
Still plays. The one thing that's still, you can say old school or new school, but is always in school is controlling counts. You control counts, and you make them swing the bat. And, you got 7 punch outs, no walks, and we had, 3 or 4 plus defensive plays behind him. It's a great recipe. What doesn't go out of school is working with a good pace, being prepared for what and how you're going to attack, and then being able to throw quality pitches. But to your point, there is a art of that has gotten lost in general in our game, including the amateur level, I believe, and seeing the lower levels where it's max effort, velocity, spin rate, hard's better, and seeing a guy that actually in, out, up, down, cut, sink, change up, devastator for Waino, obviously the signature curveball, add, subtract, and then get people in between and get them off balance, either in and out, up and down. So it's just it's the art of pitching, and it still plays.
Zach Silver, MLB.com.
And like Harrison's talking about how when something like this is going down, they know that they're locked in. I mean, obviously they're always locked in, but what do you see from just an outfield crop, from an infield, just guys knowing that what's on the line, and really, as much as Waino's picked up you guys all year, they're coming out for him tonight.
Yeah, you appreciate that. The guys are always going to play defense. They want to get after it. But also, they know they want to get this guy a shutout. They want to get them his complete game, and they want to be on point for it. And so, Harrison, man, what tremendous play to end the eighth. Amazing play to start the ninth. And then the next play after that, the second out in the ninth, and then, Eddie with a really nice play off the deflection by Waino, and Goldie with a nice in-between pick. It just says what it's about, to be focused properly, and, you want to have that focus consistently regardless of circumstance. And sometimes easier said than done, but guys came out ready to rock and roll tonight.
Adam said that he doesn't like to look too far about where he's come, the journey he's been on. He knows that in order to pitch like he does this year, that he has to kind of keep present and keep looking to the next start, I guess. Are you able, though, to appreciate just what he's been able to impart on this team, what he's been able to bounce back from 2017, 2018, and how he's been able to just not only keep his career going, but do it at such a level that he's doing this year?
I reflect on it. I've been grateful for it. It's one of the reasons I'm still sitting here. And I do appreciate. I'm similar in the. I'm always looking forward. We want to learn and grow from the past. I don't want to speak for him. I think it's what you're saying. Adam Olson, our trainer, says, once you think you're ripe, you're rotten. And I think there's something to be said for that. You want to grow from positive experiences, because that gives you confidence. And then also look to stay hungry and look to have the next quality experience. And I know that's what Waino's done. As far as me and the respect level for Waino, it's been very high, and I've been appreciative of what he's done, because he's been a big part of our 19 club that won the division and got to NLCS. He was a huge part of last year's team through a ton of adversity that was able to scratch and claw and find a way to get the playoffs last year. So, he's a winner, bottom line. He is a winner, and he makes people around him better.
That's the next question is, how do you see it trickle down to other guys on the team? When Johan was up here, they were almost inseparable about how much he was a sponge and how much they were spending time. How much is it him looking for guys to give this mentality to, guys coming to him? How much is that relationship evolved this year especially?
Listen, there's always the pillars of your clubhouse, the guys that are either people in general, whether it's a guy like a Waino or, your opinion leaders. They're either elevating people or they're not. And they do it by how they model, first and foremost, how they show up early, how they make sure they go about being dedicated to their lifting, to their bullpen, to their preparation, their video work, to the small things like the bunting and the extra hitting, which I alluded to with Waino. Well, hopefully people are paying attention to what that looks like because they're modeling it well, and then you hope they also take advantage and listen and ask the right questions to learn from the wisdom as well. So there's no question that, and the more people and players you have like that, the more that culture stays, which has been the case here in this organization. Part of my job to hold people accountable to it, but really have those leaders that do what they are supposed to do consistently, regardless of circumstance. And it says a lot, and then you then be available and be intentional about having conversations, and Waino does that very well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jeff Jones, Belleville News Democrat.
Mike, to sort of step back from the particulars of this evening, one thing that Adam also did tonight was hopped over Walker Buehler, and he's now second in the NL in innings pitched, period, this season. Given what you all have had to deal with the entirety of the season, is there a way to even explain the importance of Adam having the second most innings pitched in the NL and then the way he's taking the ball?
Yeah, effectively he's the only starter in our rotation that we started the season with that, is still, has been there the whole way. And, that's what starters do. That's what starters do. You can talk about the modern game, and that's healthy, and we know about third time through, and I know his numbers, what that looks like, so you have confidence to allow him to do that. It's a mentality, still ability to execute pitches. But, it does wonders. It rests your bullpen. It sets people up for better matchups. And, it's a huge part of successful teams. Look at the teams that have had success this year, especially in a division. Their starting pitching has been consistent all year, and it's they've got good starters, and so there's staples there. But what it's mean to our club has been absolutely huge, because you think about it, every other guy in the starting rotation hasn't had the opportunity to be able to eat those innings and do that for us. And so having one is huge, and having Waino be able to do it is critical.
He tonight became the first player in franchise history to throw a recorded Maddux and get a multi-hit game in the same game. Are we okay with calling that a Wainwright? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, you can call it. Yeah, he's earned the right to have it monikered.
Randy Carricker, ESPN Radio St. Louis.
Mike, with that performance being called a Maddux, what were your conversations like as that thing unfolded in the 7th, 8th, and 9th with Mike Maddux?
No real conversations. I mean, listen, if I was, going to have a conversation with Mad Dog about thinking about taking Waino out, I'd have had, my wife Michelle and Madison and Nora Grace watching the game be like, dude, what were you even thinking about? I mean, it was it was an easy one. It wasn't a lot of conversation other than, he's leading off the inning.
I guess it was more about how great he was. It wasn't about anything negative, just the
Oh, no, I wouldn't think it's negative. I mean, there's conversations about, because we did have one in the 9th about, if this, he needs some backup. What's that look like? But no, I mean, you just appreciate what he's doing, and, we enjoyed being able to be a part of it.
Derek Gold, St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Harrison, how aware are you of pitch count as Wainwright is going through that? I mean, does it feel like a brisk game? Does it feel like he's throwing a few pitches?
Yeah, I was aware of the pitch count, especially towards like the 7th. I think I really kind of settled in and was just really aware of what was going on, how quickly he was kind of rolling. So yeah.
Does that take on a team aspect? I mean, is that exciting to watch? Is that amazing to watch? How does that feel from feeling, it's not like a no-hitter or a perfect game where you're counting down the outs, but it still had kind of that vibe to it.
Yeah, I mean, we know what Waino's been doing all year. That's what these, Yachty and Waino do. Anytime you're spending more time in the dugout than you're on the field, it's going to be a good night for you. So, I felt like we just kind of popped out there, did our deal for 3 outs, and then we were back in the dugout trying to produce some runs.
What does he owe you for the catches?
He doesn't owe me anything.
Am I right? Was that a kip-up that you did?
I don't know. It was just kind of reactionary. Just trying to have fun out there, keep myself just, engaged, smiling, just a lot to be happy about tonight. So just having fun out there.
Okay.
Katie Wu, The Athletic.
Listen, Adam did say that he would buy you dinner, so if you want to take him up on that, it's all yours.
Yeah, again, he doesn't owe me anything. That's how you always go about your business. But I would happily go to dinner with Waino anytime he wants to take me.
What has it been like to watch what Adam Wainwright has been able to accomplish this year?
It's just been awesome. Especially just kind of zoom in on tonight. Just playing behind those guys. He was hitting his spot so well. I was moving every pitch. Understanding how he's working guys. He was just hitting his spot so well, it kind of got to a point where there were really only certain areas a guy could even hit the ball. When he's executing so well like that, the defense just flows so well. Everybody's in it. There's no lapse in focus or lapse in flow. And that's, you literally cannot ask for more from a starting pitcher. So, every time he toes the rubber, it's awesome to play behind.
That's, I mean, when you see what he's accomplished in his career, you see how much this club has relied on him this season. Is it even surprising at this point that he can go out there and fire a complete game shutout, 88 pitches?
I mean, he's had such a great career that, you know, I wouldn't say anything is surprising. It really is just it's just something to just honestly be grateful for. You know, as years go by in this league, whether you're just getting in or, you know, kind of towards the latter part of it, just you do create perspective, and being around such talent, such illustrious careers, you're just grateful to be a part of it all. And tonight was definitely something I'm grateful to have experience with him.
Zach Silver, MLB.com.
Hey Harrison, I know you're here for a little.
Zach? We lose Zach? I think he froze up. I think we froze up Zach.
I didn't hear a word you just said.
Zach?
Hear now?
Zach? Randy Carricker, you're up. We'll see if Zach can come back.
Harrison, this is 7 straight. Zach, are you back? Okay, Harrison, 7 straight games for you guys with 4 or more runs, and you guys' record with 4 or more runs is way over 500. What's the vibe like offensively right now?
Get to 4 runs or more. No, I mean, again, you know, there's baseball left. There's no doubt. You know, you have to just keep the mentality positive at all times. You know, 1 through 9 in the starting lineup, on the bench, you know, starting pitcher in the bullpen. There's baseball to be played. We're here. We know we have in front of us, but at the same time, go out there and play some ball. You know, you just mentioned it right there. Get 4 more runs. We put ourselves in a good position. So, not that we're going to ever limit ourselves, but, you know, just work through every at bat, regardless of the struggles. You're always one swing away in this game from helping your team out, helping yourself out, and you could just go on a run from there. So, if everybody plays that way, I have a feeling we'll be just fine.
And I want to know personally, what's more fun for you, the great game-saving catch or going 2 for 3 with a couple of RBIs at the plate? What is a more fun game for Harrison Baker?
Any way I can help my pitchers out, help more than just myself out. Obviously, a couple hits, you're helping some guys out, but you know, just in that setting, I always play defense that way. But you know, you kind of know what's at stake as the game's winding down. So you always play hard. And where I'm at right now, you know, I've always been taught that, you know, if you're not getting any hits, nobody's getting any hits, and if you are getting hits, no one's still getting any hits. So just, you know, I think the big thing there is just to do as Shildt preaches, which is, you know, channeling your frustrations into production. And you're not getting it done offensively, you know, there's still a totally other side to the ball, and you can really, you know, help yourself out, help your team out there. So I'm just focused always on just doing everything I can to help this team win. That's really all there is to it.
Thanks, Harrison.
Yeah.
Zach, back to you.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. Harrison, just curious, you know, you were around Adam sort of when he's going through a bit of a tough period in his career. What have you just learned from him as a guy who takes care of his body, a guy who's able to sort of rejuvenate him? What have you just learned from him, from how he's carried himself and been a professional over these last 5 years or so?
Yeah, there's just an incredible amount of will to succeed, will to prove people wrong, prove to yourself. There's just a will every day he toes the rubber, and it's something that I have admired every time I've gotten a chance to go out there and play with him, and really to kind of see it this year. It's just awesome, and I really am just grateful for his leadership when he's pitching, his leadership when he's not pitching. You know, being around guys like that, you really just can't take them for granted. And I mean, I just love playing behind you know, that type of energy, seeing guys like that work. You know, I'm an old school player. I just have an appreciation for guys who, you know, year in and year out, do it every year, have 10 plus years of doing it. He has nothing really to prove to anybody, but he's still doing it because he loves this game. And, you know, that's just where I want to be when I'm done playing, whenever that might be, is just look back and say I laid it out there for as long as I possibly could. And yeah, to see him do that still at this age is awesome. And that's why, you know, maybe there's an extra step in there in terms of, you know, doing what I got to do to help him secure his wins.